All right, now we'll talk about the dramatically enhanced swatches panel, specifically how you can drag and drop swatches to apply them to the various layers in a composition, which may sound fairly trivial, but there's actually a lot going on. It can be very useful. So I'm going to start things off by directing your attention to the preset manager, which is available here in the edit menu. You drop down to presets and then you choose preset manager. And this command has been with us for quite a while now. Notice, however, that we don't have much going on anymore. This preset type menu used to be filled with options. Now many of them, such as swatches and gradients and patterns, have disappeared, and that's because they've been offloaded to their own independent panels. And so I'll just go ahead and click Done, and then I'll go to the window menu and choose the Swatches command in order to bring up the Swatches panel. Now, currently, I'm seeing small versions of my swatches. You can make them larger if you want by clicking on the flyout menu icon and choosing large thumbnail, or even tiny thumbnail if you like. I just want you to see that because large may be the default behavior. All right, so currently I have this face layer selected, and notice that it's set to the screen mode. Now, currently the pixels are set to a shade of orange. Let's say I want to change them to this shade of blue right here, pure cyan. Then all I need to do is drag and drop cyan onto the contents of the layer like so, and Photoshop will automatically create a new solid color layer right here, which is clipped inside the contents of the layer. And now if you want to change the color of that solid color layer, all you have to do is click on another color here inside the swatches panel. And so every time I click, I assign a new color to that layer. Clicking also works with shape and text layers. And so notice this Dreamtime layer right here could be a text layer. It happens to be a vector-based shape layer. Either way, if I want to change the color assigned to that layer, all I have to do is click on a color here inside the swatches panel. And again, this works with live editable text as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this solid color layer that's assigned to the face layer so that I can show you another way to work. Let's say that you want to create a solid color layer, but you don't want it to be clipped to the contents of this pixel-based layer. Then instead of dragging and dropping, press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and drag and drop like so. At which point you end up with an independent solid color fill, as we're seeing right here. That's not what I want, however, so I'll press Ctrl-Z or Command-Z on the Mac to undo that change. You can also drag and drop onto an inactive layer, by the way. So let's say I want to change the color of the background. Then I would go ahead and drag that color. I'll go with this slightly darker shade right here, and I'll drag it and drop it into the background region instead, and that will create a new solid fill layer above the background. Now, if this background item were an independent layer, then this new solid color layer would be clipped inside of it. Because it's a flat background, Photoshop cannot clip this solid color layer. All right, now let's say that instead of creating a solid color layer, see, I told you there was a lot going on, you want to create a color overlay effect instead. In that case, get ready for it. You press the Control and Alt keys. That's Command and Option on the Mac. And then you drag a color and drop it onto the contents of that layer like so, at which point you'll end up with a new color overlay effect. Now, notice that even though this layer is set to the screen blend mode, this color overlay effect is opaque. It's set to the normal mode. And that's a function of a checkbox that's been with us for years. To get to it, double-click on an empty portion of this face layer here in order to open up the layer style dialog box. And then what you want to do is turn on this checkbox right here. Again, this is not new, but it's something you should know. Go ahead and turn on Blend Interior Effects as Group, and then Photoshop will assign the screen blend mode to that color overlay effect in order to produce this effect right here, at which point I'll click OK in order to accept that change. And that is my introduction to the dramatically improved swatches panel, which allows you to drag and drop swatches onto pixel-based layers, or if you want to change the color of a shape or text layer, all you have to do is click.